Okay, so let's move on to the next topic, which is the history and origins of DWSIM. Well, it all started with a few Excel macros that I had to do in order to do my final graduation work. I had to learn VBA, and I did some routines to calculate equilibrium with the Penn-Hobson and the SRK equations of state. I had to create some routines to calculate equilibrium. So this is why the DWSIM is programmed in VB.NET, okay? Because I started to program for real in VBA. Let me see if I can find a sample of my Flash algorithm. Here it is. Bold. These are the functions to calculate bubble and dew points. Okay, everything is in VBA. So I had already functions to calculate equilibrium with the Penn-Hobson, SRK, and Unifac models in Excel around 2005, 2004, sorry. And when I graduated, I had this idea in my mind to how could I make my own process simulator, what I needed to do. First thing, I had to learn how to create the process flow sheet drawing interface. I had no idea how to do it at the time. And I had no idea how to create the objects themselves, the material stream, the unit operations. I already had knowledge to make an application using VBA, and I already had some thermodynamic models, but had no idea how to make the rest. So I found a paper on the internet by William Barrett. Let me show it for you. Yeah, this one. This paper is awesome, guys. If you want to make your own process simulator, this is the one you must follow, okay? It is entitled The Development of a Chemical Process Modeling Environment Based on the KP Open Interface Standards and the Microsoft.NET Framework. So pretty much, it describes the DWSIM pretty much, because this is the paper I used to understand how a simulator works and what I needed to do. It has a description of all KP Open interface, although I didn't use this paper to implement the KP Open interface because I thought it was very difficult at the time for me. So I only got the overall ideas from this paper, okay? It has some diagrams about what a simulator must have. You can see here the relationships of the object-oriented programming aspects of the simulator. It describes the data types. Let's see what else. Okay, this is the model, the diagram for the model of a unit operation and some code. Okay, so with this paper I got an overall idea of what I needed to do. The interface was pretty good for the time. And the next thing I needed was a reference on how to make the process flow sheet diagram. Then I found an article from Microsoft on how to create a design surface using Windows Forms, which is the technology behind Microsoft.NET for creating Windows applications at the time. Okay, and using GDI Plus in Microsoft.NET by Duncan Mackenzie is the author of this paper, and it's from June 2002. It's very old, but you can still find it on the internet. And here it describes everything one needs to know to make her own design surface with a grid, and you can add shapes and drag and drop and resize and reshape and rotate everything in VB.NET. And this was all that I needed at the time because I knew VB.NET, and it just taught everything I needed to know to make my own process flow sheet diagram drawing surface. And I got the sample code and did a few modifications, and I used it in the DWSIM. The interface you see on the classic UI is based on this code. Okay, I had to code the shapes for each unit operation based on this code, but it is basically the code from Duncan. Okay. And the final thing that happened at the time was Microsoft had just released Visual Basic 2005 Express Edition, which was a free edition of the Visual Studio for Visual Basic only, and I didn't want to pay for a Visual Studio license at the time. I didn't have the money, so this was it was like it has fallen from the sky. It was just everything. I had everything I need to start to make my own simulator, and this is basically what I had at the time, and what the tools I had at the time to start making the DWSIM. Okay.